Hello everybody, welcome back to Retro Computing Ranch. Today on the bench we've got a return visitor from last week, the oscilloscope that we fixed in the previous episode, and our third 3B2. So out of the three 3B2s that I ended up with, two were fairly easy to get working. I still have a problem with not having working storage, but that's something that I'm going to deal with soon. But on this one, the person I got it from told me that the serial port has no communication, and there's a sticker, I'll put a picture in the video, that says serial port no response or something along those lines. I want to see if we can troubleshoot this. I've done some research and I think it could be that we have a quad line driver that's gone bad, but we're going to do some additional testing to make sure. Let's go ahead, no further preamble, no long introduction. Let's dig in and see if we can get this thing working today. So, where we're at on our AT&T 3B2 main board with no output on the console is I've tested and I have input to the line driver from the CPU, but I do not have any output to the serial port. So I need to do my due diligence here. I've looked at the data sheet. Pin 1 in this corner is V-. Pin 7 is going to be ground, and pin 14 in the other corner is V+. So we need to check our voltages and make sure that we have what we need to be able to properly output. Now, I've got the RAM pulled out of the system, but we should still get our voltages at this IC. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the power switch here. System fan is running. And then I'm going to probe carefully ground, V-. So I only have negative 0.1 volts here. So that does not appear to be correct. I'm going to switch to the other side and probe our V+. And on V+, I have 11.97. So we are missing a voltage rail. That could be why, yeah, I still have nothing there. That could be why this is not working. I was going to pull this IC, install a socket, and install a new IC here. But if I'm missing a voltage rail, I need to troubleshoot that first. We've been working on our AT&T 3B2. This is the third one. It has a sticker on the main board that says no response serial port. So looking at it, and I've taken the main board out of the chassis, there's just too much stuff in the way between the multi-bus cage and the RAM modules and the limited space in that corner by the power supply. So we pulled everything out. What I have determined by looking at data sheets is we have a 1488 quad line driver here and a 1489 quad line receiver here. So that is the RS-232 section of this main board that converts our logic level data into RS-232 level data. And with some testing with an oscilloscope and a logic analyzer, I've determined that I'm getting the proper signals here at the 1488, but the 1488 is not converting it into RS-232 levels. So that explains why we've got no response on our serial port, of course. So I actually found another board here in the scrap pile that had a 1488 and a 1489 on it. I pulled those chips along with their sockets very carefully. I was ready to start desoldering this 1488, and I thought, let's do some due diligence. And so in the course of doing that, what I determined is that ground is good, our positive 12 volt is good, negative 12 volt is missing entirely. So I probed here at the back of the power supply connector. We're in continuity mode. Back of the power supply connector. And what I determined is that we had positive 12 volt there, negative 12 volt, which is the fourth pin, was missing, and our ground returns are here for those voltages. So I thought, you know what, I'm probably going to have to do some repair on this very proprietary TRW power supply, and I was not very excited about that, but I went ahead and hooked a load to this power supply and turned it on, and lo and behold, the positive and negative 12 volt lines were both up and at the correct levels, and they looked good. So I thought, well, this is the point to come back, and we'll take a look here. So that's our positive 12 volt rail, which goes to that side of the chip. That's perfect. That's our negative 12 volt rail, which goes to this side of the chip. That's perfect. So if I take our positive 12 volt rail and check the returns, no continuity, negative 12 volt rail, shorted to ground. So my thought here is that we have a variety of tantalum capacitors on this board, and I would bet you that one of these tantalums is shorted. So let's do some probing first to see if we can figure out which tantalum is on that line. So this one right next to the chip, we're at 1.8, 2.0 ohms on one side, 57 on the other side. So I don't believe this one is shorted. The rail it's on is shorted, but I don't believe that this tantalum is shorted. Going here, in between the RAM slots, 1 ohm on one side. Having a hard time making good contact here. And about the same on the other side. Going to these other chips, or sorry, other tantalum caps. They're all about the same. They're higher though. So my thinking is that this tantalum capacitor here, it's on the negative 12 volt rail, and it is most likely shorted. I've got my iron ready. Let me see if I can get it lifted here, and I don't know if that's going to be the right tool for the job. Let me see if I can get it lifted, and then we'll check to see if we are still shorted. Okay, I've got that up. If I can get it to kind of stay. Okay. Let's see here. See if I can get this to cooperate. So I'm on the pad for that cap. Yep, our short is cleared now. So let's go ahead and pull out this tantalum capacitor on the other side and see if we can get this short cleared, at least for the time being. I touched my soldering iron against the socket. That is loose. It's just, there we go. Okay. Whew, that smells bad. And I've burned that socket a little bit, but that's okay. That happens. If it gets this main board back to working, that's a risk I'm willing to take. So, let's see here. That's going to be our negative 12 volt. And that's correct. We have negative 12 volt there. That is our return. We are not shorted. Okay, so that's going to be the side that is against the return. And that's the other side. Let's pull that cap back over here and verify if that is our shorted tantalum capacitor. 1 ohm. That is a shorted tantalum capacitor. Let's check it from the other direction just to make sure. One arm that way, one arm that way. So yeah, that's a shorted tantalum cap. All right, that's looking good. Let me go ahead and get cabled up here, and I will see if we get a sign of life out of this. Now, what I am expecting, I don't have a hard drive ready to go for this machine. But what I do have is a dead NVRAM battery. So I would expect that when we power the machine on, we'll get our NVRAM sanity warning, and then we won't get anything after that. The next thing that would be in the normal boot up sequence is the message that diagnostics are running, but those run off of the hard drive, so we will never get to that stage. But let's see what we can do. I'm going to go ahead and plug in our RAM modules. Now, this is a 4 meg set, and the convenient thing on the 3B2 with these 4 meg modules is that, 2 meg modules, is that all of the RAM points towards the front of the machine. It's possible to put them in backwards. They are not keyed, and if you do, it will damage the RAM. So, let's pull a few things out of the way here, and let me set up my laptop, reposition the camera, all of that sort of stuff. We'll see if this thing is working. All right, before we get the laptop set up and do the rest of the stuff, it is important to know that the keying on the power supply connector to the main board is very minimal. There is a rise that points up, and it fits into a notch here, but it's possible to put this on backwards, and of course that would most likely blow up the main board and or the power supply. So if you look at the colors, it roughly equates to the voltages on the line. The main thing to know is yours is probably going to be purple, mine is, but you'll have a color, you'll have two of the same color here. That is your power good from the power supply to the main board to the power supply. You want to make sure that's plugged in towards the multi-bus connectors. So we will get that plugged in. Let me grab my Ethernet serial cable. Okay, so we've got everything cabled up. We have our TRW power supply, our 3B2 main board with the power connected. RAM is installed. We have our cable to give us our RJ45 port to get the serial over to our USB to serial adapter, and then into my Lenovo IdeaPad laptop. So let's go ahead, reach over and hit the power supply switch and see if we get some data out on this. Yeah! There we go. So, all right, we have it working now. That's our NVRAM sanity failure. I don't expect we'll get anything else out of this right now. But before, this board was not communicating via RS-232 at all. What that means is that our 1488 and 1489 chips were actually not bad at all. So I have a spare set here now that I can use later. What I need to do is get some working hard drives. So I've been talking to someone online, and what we're going to do at some point, not right away, is we're going to get the MFM hard drive, the CDC Ren 2, that I have working, the only working MFM drive that I have with the 3B2s. We're going to take that, we're going to get an image that'll work with a Guesswine emulator, and then sometime shortly, I've got some real estate deals going, and I should be able to get the money to buy Guesswine emulators for each one of the 3B2s, and then at that point, okay, so I was wrong. We ended up getting additional messages out of this. So I'll go back to that in a second. We got an FW error 1-02, which is a disk sanity failure. Execution is halted. system failure, consult your MCP or your system administration utilities guide. So basically the system is hung at this point. Maybe. Can we enter MCP here? No, we cannot. Okay. Let me just double check. Because sometimes you have to be in the other mode to get this to work. Ah, there we go. So it is saying that we have a floppy drive connected. We do not. That's all good. This tells me that the system is capable of executing more code than just the basics required to tell us that the NVRAM is not working correctly. So that's an even better sign. But back to what I was saying, I'm going to get guess-wine emulators for each one of these, and I'll have the image where it'll work correctly. The CDC Ren 2 that I have is a 72 megabyte. That's plenty of room to get things done. I've got a few other things I'd like to get done on these 3B2s. I think I'm always going to be able to come up with something more to do on these. But what I would like to do is I have some additional cards, an additional, an 8-port serial card, and I've got a network card. They both have issues. I'm going to dig into troubleshooting those. We're going to do some additional stuff with software. I've been talking with somebody who used to work for AT&T and still has some software source code for software that they wrote. And we're going to see if we can get that working on 3B2s. So I think we're heading in a good direction, and I'm actually pretty excited about it. What this means, so just to give you a refresher, we had 2 units that were marked 3B2 300 and one that was marked 3B2 310. The 300 is the basic machine that does not have... You know what? I'm totally wrong. Never mind. So we've got 2 machines. One is marked a 3B2 310. That means it has the math acceleration unit. The other 2 are marked 3B2 300, which is the same system board, only without the math acceleration unit. So we only have 1 working math acceleration unit. I'll see if I can track some more of those down. The other thing we've got that we're working on is I need to fabricate some cables for our XM and see if we can get that working. But I don't even want to attempt that until I have another working hard drive to go in that, because the expansion module is capable of hosting, and mine is configured with a hard drive and a cartridge tape drive. Now, I doubt that I'm going to be able to track down any tapes for that drive. It's a 1/4-inch tape, but it's a proprietary weird type of format. I'm not sure if normal tapes work, and even then on 1/4-inch tape, they're really unreliable these days. So I think that that's going to be something that we're never really going to get working, but we might be able to emulate it somehow. We'll see. Okay, I've rambled long enough. I'm going to put this all away. It is very cold here, and I'm going to go back to the main house. So, thanks for hanging out through the whole video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.